What's up guys? So today we're back with the first Premiere Pro tutorial of this little introduction drones mini-series, and in this short episode we're going to cover kind of how to get started in Premiere Pro, explaining the basic layout and some basic things that you'll need to know to get going. So let's start. First you want to open up your Premiere Pro program. It might be blank or have some dialogue or something here. But what you're gonna do is you're basically gonna go File, New Project, and that's gonna create your new project. So here you choose the name. This is where you choose where it's stored. So if you want to reopen it or save it and all that stuff for working on later, this is where it's gonna be stored. So I'm just gonna leave it as untitled. I already have another project called untitled, so I'm gonna just overwrite it, and that's fine. So first thing you're gonna see is a layout kind of similar to this. It might look a little bit different because you can, customize it, make it look however you want, and it's all preference really. So make sure you're in the editing tab, and first thing we're gonna do is I'm going to import a song. And you wanna, when you're importing stuff, you can either click and drag, like I'm gonna do now, drop it into the media browser here. And here you can go into this little tab, download, import stuff. Here's where all your project and things are going to be. You can change how it looks, etc., etc. You can also just file, import, and it brings up the dialog to import footage. So I'm going to go now and I'm going to import some drone footage. Let's see. We're gonna go for some Piermont footage. I've got a ton of that. See here. I'm going to bring in, let's see, these ones, this one, maybe this one too. A couple more, and some nice ball shots. That should be good. So I'm gonna now click and drag. I've selected all the clips I want and just drop them right in there. And now it's gonna import the files into the project. Once this is done, it's usually going to do some extra things. It's, even though it's fully imported, oh no, here it's actually good. So once these are, in your project, that means you just have access to them and they're ready to be used, I guess you could say. So we're gonna start with bringing this clip onto the timeline. Also, as you can see here, if you kind of hover over it, over a certain clip or something, you can kind of get a little bit of a preview of how that clip looks. So I'm gonna import this one onto the timeline. So now you can see we've got our clip in here. Then I'm going to go with this one. Why is it not working? Freezing up a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's already in. We're going to bring in this guy. This guy. There's also different layers, but I'm just going to stack them all first. And then I'm going to just bring in the rest of these. If you select them all, it kind of brings them all in, one after the other. Makes your life a lot easier. And there's my audio clip. I'm just clicking and dragging these to put them all on. So yeah, so once you have, your clips in your timeline and you're ready to go, you can use the equals key and the minus key to zoom in and out. Equals zooms you in more, or I think it's plus actually. Plus zooms you in more, minus zooms you out. You can scroll and that moves you along the timeline. You can also drag the bar. Pretty easy stuff. Definitely get to learn those keybinds, as that'll help you a lot, make the speeding things up. So see, here's your preview area. You got your play. I gotta turn this down a little bit. You got play, got a bunch of other things. Um, it's pretty, you don't really use these buttons too much, although you can. Um, but I prefer to use the keybinds for. You can also change these, I believe, but I think mine are just default right now. So L is play, K is pause, J is rewind, and if you press L and then press it again, it goes faster and faster. If you press J, same thing. It's all pretty easy. You can also hear, you can change the quality of your playback. So even though it's not rendered, um, you can change how good it looks. I recommend, unless you have a really good computer, I usually run at 1/2. Just so it plays back smoothly, especially once you're doing things with a lot of clips and effects and stuff like that. It definitely is a good idea to start lowering this for smooth playback. But that's all up to you. So we're gonna zoom in here on our first clip. You can also drag this along. It doesn't really play it back, but that's something you can do. So first thing we're gonna do here is we're going to go into order our clips. So I wanted to, let's say I want to do this clip, and then I want it to go from this clip here to this one, right? So what I can do is I'm also gonna expand this audio track, because something that's very helpful when you're working with audio is controlling the volume, because if you have, if your drone records audio or anything like that, maybe the propellers are loud, or you want to lower this volume of the track that you're editing to, or a sound effect or something like that. That's what this is. So you do have to expand the track here just by grabbing the bottom of that layer and dragging, and that will show you the gain bar, or basically volume. So generally you kind of got to just play it back, kind of find what sounds right for you. So I'm gonna leave mine right around there. I think that's pretty good. I'm just adjusting the sound of my recorder there, but yeah, I'm gonna leave mine right around there. I think that's pretty good. So now I can zip this back up. I'm actually gonna leave it expanded just because I want to see or be able to see the audio waves. So then these are all audio tracks, and now these are all video tracks. So now I only need this top audio track because I'm only working with one audio sequence. So I'm just going to kind of drag this middle divider here and hide these audio bars, and then that gives me room to expand my video bars so I can actually see the preview on the clip. So now that we're all set up there, I'm just gonna go ahead, play kind of where I want to start this. Also, another thing you can do, you can add, if you select a clip here, it's a little bit hard, but I'm gonna go and add in a little fade in the intro. So here's where you can add effects and stuff. So you want to go over to your project and go to effects, and you'll see you have all these different categories here. So a little fade in is going to be video transition, so we're going to go in there, dissolve and cross dissolve, and as you can see, there it is. So now I'm going to just zoom in a little bit, grab it, click and drag. So that means now my clip is going to fade in. I'm also going to cut it a little bit by clicking and dragging, and then reset it there. Before I continue, so right now this is in 60 FPS, this file. So if you want to change anything with your projects, settings or anything like that, you kind of just go into sequence settings, and that's how you can customize everything here. So I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to change my frame rate here to 2997, and we're going to change this to 1920 by 1080. There we go. And I'm just going to, there we go. I'm just going to hit okay. Now my project settings are changed, and as you can see, when you change this, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to go to properties. If you right click and press properties, you can see the footage or that specific clips, you know, properties and stuff like that. So it's 60 FPS, but the image size is bigger than what I just changed it to. So my footage, or when I export this project, I'm going to be editing it and rendering it in 1080p. However, the file quality is larger than that. So what you do then is, and when you want to scale or do anything, any kind of individual effects on a specific clip, you're going to go to effect controls, click on your clip, or other way around, doesn't really matter, and you're going to click and drag on the scale. And what that does is it allows you to control the slider for that. And you can, you know, I'm going to go and press 71 or maybe 72. 72 works pretty good. You can also just click and then start typing and it'll change it, or you can click and drag it like a slider. So you've got a couple other things in here like position, you know, move around your clip, pressing Control Z to undo, rotation, bunch of other things. And also once you add other effects, those will also appear in here. So now back to our timeline. There we go. We've got, you know, our introduction there. And then right about here, I'm going to start this clip and I'm going to do a fading kind of a transition, I guess you could say. So here we're going to go and throw on this one. I don't know what this looks like, but we'll see in a second. So a lot of stuff is kind of just trying things out. And now if we play it, didn't really work. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna bother figuring that out. I just clicked it and pressed delete. We'll go with this. Didn't really do anything. I'm just gonna go with the cross dissolve then. So now this should fade onto. There we go. So this is now fading in pretty nicely. So that's all good and how we like it. So as you notice though, you can see both clips here. So when you have clips overlaid on each other, that means that the other clip is still playing under. So for example, if I was done with this bottom clip now, I would just, you know, cut it off right there, because that's all I need. I don't need to have it running in the background, even though you can't see it. So this clip, I just want to make sure the scaling is right. Now this clip also needs to be zoomed out. So generally, you know, you'll have to go around and rescale every clip if you change the project sequences, and the clips are, you know, not fitting those, you'll have to readjust them, but it's not too bad to do. You can do it fairly quickly. So I'm gonna just show you a quick little trick. If you're having laggy playback, what you can do is you go to the end of a certain region you want to play and press O. So what this does is this selects the region, I guess, that is being played back or something like that. So what that allows us to do is go and press C. Also see here how it's yellow? That means it's not rendered. So if you go outline that, press sequence, and then go render into out, it's going to basically pre-render that whole section, and it's going to turn green, and you'll be able to watch it in, well, I guess like it's rendered, so you'll be able to watch it smoothly unless you change anything. You'll have to redo it again if you change anything. But here we go with that. Takes a little bit of time. You need to have a lot of patience for video editing. So here we go. Now it's smooth, and you can see it's all green and rendered. So yeah, there we go. That's where we're gonna end this mini tutorial. Very basic kind of run through of what you need to do.